Hi, and welcome to this lesson on the principles of anti-fragility, how life finds a way. So, defining the fragile spectrum is very important because it's inherent in everything that we do. But until recently, we really haven't had a good conversation around this. To understand this in its basics, fragile things are things that do not do well under stress. Robust things are things that do well despite stress. And anti-fragile things are things that actually do better because of stress. This doesn't like stress, doesn't care about stress, and like stress is the spectrum of fragility. And understand that robustness is not the opposite of fragility. It's in the middle. To understand this a little bit better, we want to define fragility in terms of different system performance over time against stress. Here we have a fragile system which very rapidly decreases in its performance as stress increases. A system like this might include your political reputation, the cost-efficient system which is tightly coupled, the packed schedule where nothing can be late or go wrong, otherwise the whole thing falls apart, and precision tools that really cannot be touched or dinged or pushed because they're going to get out of alignment. Then we have the robust system. Here we see what is our typical S-curve in dealing with stress. And of course, systems like this include a worker's reputation, a redundant system which has the ability to back itself up, a simple to-do list whenever you're going and getting your work done, or products like houses and cars, which can handle some damage. And yeah, initially you lose a little bit in terms of the quality of it, but it does about the same until the whole thing falls apart again on you and you got to replace it or fix it. Then we have a buffered system. A buffered system is where you are able to selectively reduce the impact of stress over time. The best way to think about this is a hero's reputation. A hero's reputation can handle lots of dings and dents. Nobody blames the hero. They can do nothing wrong until eventually people give up on them. We won't name any names, but it's happening a lot right now. Then if you think about this, this is like a protected system. Think about it like a nuclear reactor, which you have to get through layers and layers and layers of fail-safes until you finally see anything go wrong. And the best way to understand this in terms of how you manage your time is a prioritized to-do list, where you put the most important things at the very beginning, you get those done, and it doesn't really matter if other things fall away in terms of stress. If you do that, you're almost always going to have high performance. Agile uses that in its execution of a time box. This buffered system has essentially a cliff in terms of at the very end of its stress profile. Then we have the anti-fragile system. The anti-fragile system has a profile of getting better over time with stress. And it could start off as high or low as any one of these other systems. But the point here is that over time, stress actually improves the performance. So a really great example of this is an artist's reputation. For example, artists, they can't have bad press. Any kind of press for an artist is good press. It makes them controversial, it makes them interesting, and it improves their income. A replicated system versus a protected or redundant or cost-efficient one, but one that's truly replicated is going to be able to select the best ideas and continue to get better over time. That's what we want to build when it comes to our Agile projects, and we're going to talk about that more. The type of time management that you would expect to see with an anti-fragile system is actually experimentation, where you're trying very quickly to learn as fast as you can. And a good example of a product that is anti-fragile is the Roomba. The Roomba runs around and bumps into things and doesn't really know what it's doing at first, but then it actually learns and it gets better over time and it becomes a better product for you. It's one of my favorite examples because it also inspired Scrum. The key point here is that stressors carry information into the system so the system learns and gets better over time, whereas all these other types of systems get worse with the additional stress. So a really great example of this is Chaos Monkey. Chaos Monkey is a really cool system invented by Netflix, and Netflix uses Chaos Monkey in order to test all of its systems in operations. It literally goes through and randomly shuts down network links, and then it sees whether or not the system continues to perform. This is what we call hormesis, the intended injuring of a system in order to make it stronger. And in fact, it's grown over time. So now there's this whole simian army of automated systems going around and performing these micro tests, and sometimes not so micro tests, on the Netflix system. The biggest is the Chaos Gorilla. It literally shuts down one entire availability zone in AWS, basically shutting down the West Coast, and says, are we still running? And as a result, it's able to continue to run. Netflix is great at this. There's also the latency monkey that degrades networks, the doctor monkey that checks to see if it's a healthy service or not. You have the janitor monkey, which disposes of unused resources, sweeping things up. You've got the security monkey that shuts down vulnerable services, and the bite monkey to see if your API fails when you deliberately serve bad information to an API. So this whole suite is available to you so you can test your systems. But the idea is simply this: harden weaknesses before they impact the customers and revenue. If you do that, you're making yourself stronger. It's like building a team full of strong athletes in terms of your actual services. So to summarize, it's simply this: mechanical systems are fragile, biological systems are anti-fragile. Mechanical systems are fragile because every error adds weakness. To keep it fit, you have to continue to repair it. And if you use it, you're going to lose it. Basically, wear and tear wears it out. But when it comes to biological systems, the opposite is true. Errors remove weakness because of the fact that they call out what are the weaker parts of the system. Fitness requires stress. You literally have to stress yourself, and it's either use it or lose it. So you got to use it in order to keep it and to make it better, or it's going to be gone. It's true in the mind, it's true in the body, and it's true in our biological larger systems as well. So understanding this, we want to embody the anti-fragile principles in everything that we do so that we can get stronger over time. We're going to show you how you can do this in the next lesson, Agile's Natural Advantage. Look forward to seeing you there.